Welcome! This is another video in my NIV Bible reading series. NIV stands for New International Version, and in this video I am going to be reading through Exodus 21. So in the last chapter, it was just some laws and stuff like that, the Ten Commandments and some other laws and stuff about not carving false idols and stuff like that. So in 21, there's going to be more rules as far as I remember. Another relatively short chapter. And yeah, let's just get into it. These are the laws you are to set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant, he is to serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year he shall go free without paying anything. If he comes alone, he is to go free alone. But if he has a wife, when he comes, she is to go with him. If his master gives him a wife and she bears him sons or daughters, the woman and her children shall belong to her master, and only the man shall go free. But if the servant declares, I love my master and my wife and children and do not want to go free, then his master must take him before the judges. He shall take him to the door or the door post and pierce his ear with an awl. To be honest, I don't know what an awl is. Then he will be his servant for life. If a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as manservants do. If she does not please the master who has selected her for himself, he must let her be redeemed. He has no right to sell her to foreigners, because he has broken faith with her. If he selects her for his son, he must grant her the rights of a daughter. If he marries another woman, he must not deprive the first one of her food, clothing, and marital rights. If he does not provide her with these 3 things, she is to go free, without any payment of money. Anyone who strikes a man and kills him shall surely be put to death. However, if he does not do it intentionally, but God lets it happen, he is to flee to a place I will designate. But if a man schemes and kills another man deliberately, take him away from my altar and put him to death. If anyone who attacks his father or his mother must be put to death. Anyone who kidnaps another and either sells him or still has him when he is caught must be put to death. Anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death. If men quarrel and one hits the other with a stone or with his fist, and he does not die but is confined to bed, the one who struck the blow will not be held responsible if the other gets up and walks around outside with his staff. However, he must pay the injured man for the loss of his time and see that he is completely healed. If a man beats his male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies as a direct result, he must be punished, but he is not to be punished if the slave gets up after a day or 2, since the slave is his property. If men who are fighting hit a pregnant woman and she gives birth prematurely, but there is no serious injury, the offender must be fined whatever the woman's husband demands and the court allows. But if there is serious injury, you are to take her life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, and wound for wound, bruise for bruise. If a man hits a manservant or maidservant in the eye and destroys it, he must let the servant go free to compensate for the eye. And if he knocks out the tooth of a servant or maidservant, he must let the servant go free to compensate for the tooth. If a bull gores a man or a woman to death, the bull must be stoned to death, and its meat must not be eaten, but the owner of the bull will not be held responsible. If, however, the bull has had the habit of goring and the owner has been warned but has not kept it pinned up and it kills a man or woman, the bull must be stoned and the owner also must be put to death. However, if payment is demanded of him, he may redeem his life by paying whatever is demanded. This law also applies if the bull gores a son or daughter. If the bull gores a male or female slave, the owner must pay 30 shekels of silver to the master of the slave, and the bull must be stoned. If a man uncovers a pit or digs one and fails to cover it, an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit must pay for the loss. He must pay its owner, and the dead animal will be his. If a man's bull injures the bull of another, and it dies, they are to sell the live one and divide both the money and the dead animal equally. However, if it was known that the bull had the habit of goring, yet the owner did not keep it penned up, the owner must pay animal for animal, and the dead animal will be his. Alright. Like I said, some more laws there and stuff. Probably controversial and stuff. Honestly, I don't know how much of this was nullified or changed in the New Testament. On Jesus' arrival, I don't know which of these laws, because, like, we don't really, the common man doesn't have a bull. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least at the time I'm recording it. Like, I don't know. I've never even heard of bulls being really eaten that much. Bulls, at least we're out in the area of the world that I live in, uh, we eat like cows and stuff. So would that still apply to cows and horses and like other things besides donkeys and bulls? I imagine so, but I don't know. But I don't know. Some interesting things, but it's the Lord's word, and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't know how much of this was changed in the New Testament or not, like, or when Jesus came, like, because when Jesus came, it was like a new covenant, as far as I know, as far as my understanding goes. Because I haven't read the whole Bible yet and stuff like that. I'm reading this along, and stuff like that. And like, I haven't even finished Exodus. I've only read up to like 40, maybe. I still haven't read Leviticus. Most of the Old Testament. I've read bits and pieces of the Old Testament books and stuff like that, but not fully read through them and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to as my journey goes on and stuff. I'm gonna have to. Uh, I guess I'll find out more. But anyway, yeah, that was Exodus 21. Um, let me know what you think about these laws and stuff like that. I mean, of course, it doesn't matter because God Himself, it was the man who decreed these laws, or man being, however you want to say it. God presents Himself as a man, as far as I know, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity. That gets a little confusing. Uh, but that, I guess that's just the way God chose to present Himself, I guess. Because He also presented Himself, came in the form of like the burning bush and like and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's not a simple thing, but yeah. Anyway, that's it. Chapter 21, Exodus. Um, let's see. Chapter 22. It's gonna look at the headings here. Protection of property, social responsibility. Man, I can't talk, man. Yeah, so more laws. Chapter 23, Sabbath laws, 3 annual festivals, God's angel prepares the way, whatever that, I forget what that is. But yeah, I'm done.